මාලි සබ්‍රිය අමතුමා අධ්‍යයන න්‍යාය පත්‍රයේ විෂයාංක 1 සිට 4 දක්වා ඉදිරිපත් කෙරේ.
If you look at that, Deputy Speaker, for a considerable period of time it has been acknowledged that the fines pertaining to the violation of the provisions in certain acts and ordinances are totally inadequate to deter such violation. Therefore, one of my predecessors, in fact, had appointed a committee in the past to study it, and it is appropriate to make recommendation for increased fines imposed on penalties in certain acts and ordinances. Now, what is important that it is in terms of the Article 11 of the Sri Lankan Constitution, the Sri Lanka provides that no person shall be subject to torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. The Act number 22 of 1992 was enacted by the Parliament, this House, to give effect to the Convention against Torture and other cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment or punishment, which is an international treaty. Sri Lanka follows zero tolerance in respect of torture and other cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment or punishment. Therefore, increasing the fines provided for offence under the Act is to a realistic level will ensure that Sri Lankan's commitment against torture and other cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment or punishment, and also a guarantee for basic human rights. It is important that we must understand that 99% or more than that law enforcement authorities, including the officers of the police and the other areas, are doing a great job. They respect the law, they respect the rule of law, and they respect the human dignity. But there are few elements which has created a very bad image for the country and very bad name for us, and as a result of which we had been asked to respond to all these things in various international and local fora. Everyone's life matters, everyone's dignity matters, everyone should be treated equally, and therefore it is important that no one should be allowed to treat any other human being as a citizen of this country or otherwise in a degrading manner. In order to deter that practice, we are proposing to increase the fine from 50,000 to 250,000. So that is why it is important that no one, this will work as a deterrent to people who is willing or attempting to violate the law against the constitution of this country. Honourable member, it is important that there are number of decisions we have taken during the last few months in order to activate the reconciliation process and fasten it. It is important that in order to do so, we need to empower various institutions coming under several bodies. There are three main institutions. One is ONUR, that is Office of National Unity and Reconciliation. We have empowered that organization, though it was brought by the previous government, contrary to what the expectations that they thought that we will done away with it. We have empowered them. We are continue to empower them so that we can build national unity and reconciliation. Second organization is that the Office of Reparation. Office of Reparation is, we all know, is a succeeding organization for an entity called REPAIR. REPAIR was established after 1983 riots to pay compensation for people who were affected. So now Office of Reparation is continue to perform great services on that, and they have been paid certain amounts, and not only that, they continue to pay, and we have empowered them. We have retained the same office bearers who have been there until their period is over, and they are doing a good job. We want to continue that so that whoever who have been affected by various conflict in various parts of the country should be immediately pay their reparations and give them whatever the dues they ought to be given. It is in the similar line that the government and the cabinet of ministers took a policy decision that Office of Missing Persons also should be strengthened, empowered to do their job. That is, we cannot have people missing forever. We understand there are parties who are interested in naming and shaming our country, coming out with total fake figures, totally fabricated figures to say that thousands of Sri Lankans have been, or 20,000, 30,000 different numbers are being given, have been missing. But our interest is to show for the last from 2009 how many people are actually being missing, how to trace them, reduce their numbers, and to see a finality on that. If somebody is being missing, actually had been missing, then we had to issue them the death certificate or pay them, recommend them to be paid for compensation. And we have to get that numbers to a realistic line, realistic number. And accordingly, it is important that we have to empower these organizations. It is in line with that. We have appointed a new committee to man the Office of Missing Persons. The chairman resigned from that, and other people, other office bearers kind of concluded their terms. Thereafter, a new team of office bearers had been appointed. And in terms of the Act itself, their remunerations and the facilities and the benefits should be approved by the Parliament. And we have produced that to the Judicial Oversight Committee, and they have gone through that and approved that. I have produced in that, and it is on par with the payment which is paid to the Office of Reparation. Accordingly, I invite all the members of this August Assembly to look at these acts and give their concurrence to get these acts passed. Those are the acts, if I mention once again: Code of Criminal Procedure Amendment Bill, Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment Amendment Bill, then Order under the Code of Criminal Procedure Special Provisions Act, and then the revision of salaries and allowances accorded to the members of the Office on Missing Persons. So we are in the process of rolling out several amendments and reform process to strengthen several institutions under the justice sector. It is in that context, these are all part of that process.